This is the Job Stories Podcast, how people find work that matters.
Great to get to talk with you guys. I'm CEO of Jeni Splendid Ice Creams. We have a number of shops in and around Nashville, and then now a number of other cities. We are a company based in Columbus, Ohio, but our first major jump was to Nashville because we love the creative class that has everybody from around the country has sort of picked Nashville as the place to meet, and so we've been very fortunate to put down good roots there and have loved doing that. My career started very haphazard way. I was a political nerd, and when I was about 15 or 16, I used to write letters to the editor, ghost letters to the editor, and try to get my parents' friends to sign them. My dad says he lost more buddies during that time in my life than any other time. I tell people I was born south of Chicago. You're stamped a Democrat as you come out of the womb, and I haven't shaken that to this day. But I thought I wanted to run campaigns. I thought I wanted to be a speechwriter, and I had a level of success in the speech writing. I was the speechwriter for the president of the American Bar Association when I was 21. I was sort of very fortunate and lucky to get a break to do that job, and I loved it. And then I was sort of helping out on a few campaigns and realized that I might run those into the ground. And I was very worried about not having a job if I ran a campaign or two into the ground. And so I decided I better go to law school. And I thought I was getting into Northwestern, and I will tell you, I'm 48 years old. I'm still on the wait list at Northwestern's law school. Not bitter at all. I've spoken at their business school, Kellogg, and spent most of the time making fun of the law school. But Ohio State gave me a great offer. I had never been to the state of Ohio. I had no intention of staying, but I drove over here for what I thought would be 3 quick years, and then I'd go back to Chicago and be the loop attorney I'd sort of planned on. But I got talked into sticking around here by a firm that promised that I would get to do things that I wouldn't otherwise get to do at a major mega firm in Chicago. And I was very worried that I wouldn't be able to stand out at the mega firm, writing memos and doing things, competing with Ivy League grads who surely could write memos as well or better than me. And I wanted to do like trial law. I wanted to do what I thought was the sexy stuff in the courtroom. And that was great for a while. And I got to do lots of what I would call junior litigation, where I would, anytime somebody wasn't represented, if they were in an unemployment hearing or a workers' comp hearing or very low level litigation, I would do that. And I thought I was pretty good at it. I was like 33-0. And then I got my first jury trial, and I can reveal that I am 0-1 in jury trials. During that trial, I thought, this is no way to make a living. Like, this is miserable. I felt like I could have prepared every night until 2 a.m. for the 3 weeks leading up to trial and still not been fully prepared. And I was worried about making a living that way. And I was very fortunate to get brought in on a business deal. A local pizza company was being sold to McDonald's, and I was brought in to help on a very, very small portion of that deal. But I saw sitting around the table very smart people with big dollars at stake, working together to try to find solutions to difficult problems. And I thought, now this is what I want to do. This is fun. These are smart people working together. That's entertaining. And I quickly decided corporate law was what I wanted to do. And the firm was nice enough to let me change my at least claimed area of expertise and begin to work in that area. And then from there, GE called and I followed a strange career path within General Electric and became a general counsel of some enormous businesses, a $14 billion P&L where we had 35 places around the world where planes would fly in and we would take the engines off and repair them and put them back on and charge $4 to $8 million per engine. And I was happy and loving that professionally, but personally, it was really taking a toll. It was during the financial crisis, and we moved a lot. We had 5 houses in 5 years. I was gone a lot. I was constantly on a plane. I always had a bag packed, ready to go on no notice. And I had an aha moment of I need a different path. I can't do this forever. My wife's going to leave me. I'm not getting to be the husband I wanted. I'm not getting to be the father I wanted. And I was scared that if I did that for a long time, it just wasn't the life I wanted. I was making more money than I ever planned, but I was not particularly happy. And I started flirting with companies outside of GE. And then out of nowhere, some old friends called, and Jeni Britton-Bauer and her husband, Charlie, said, we've got something magic here, but you know us, we're sort of artists. We're not really business people, and we need a CEO. We want you to come back to Columbus and be our CEO. And, I sort of said, like, I'm flattered. I love you guys. I appreciate it. Can you pay me? And they said, we're not sure. You got to figure that out. And over the course of about 6 months, I realized the answer was no, they couldn't quite pay me, but it felt too wholesome and too great an opportunity to help build something around what I thought was the greatest ice cream maker in the world, making what I really believed was the greatest ice cream. And they had 4 ice cream shops, and there was one place, Foragers in Brooklyn, New York, that was selling their ice cream. And I said, how did you get on the shelf at Foragers? And they said, well, they called us and asked if they could sell our ice cream. That's Zen in the art of marketing. That's sit back and wait for them to find you. And I said, I don't think that happens in the real world. Like, that's kind of amazing. And so I took a bigger risk than I had ever taken. I think it was bigger than I wanted to admit to myself, because I really wanted to do it. And my wife sort of looked at me like I was crazy, but she knew she could return to her law firm and that we wouldn't move for a long time. And that sounded pretty fantastic to her as well. And I was hoping that, we could grow the business enough that I could coach my kids basketball and be the engaged dad that I had always wanted to be and planned to be, and a better husband as well. And I'm happy to report that those things have come true. And it has been nice to not have to think about moving. And we've built a little business that has both enabled us to have tremendous fun and an amazing team and get to work with people you want to work with, but also enabled a lifestyle of being a good dad and husband that many companies don't enable. So that's the long-winded version of sort of how I got here. And happy to talk about the business or anything else on your mind.
Oh, it's so great. Thank you for sharing that. Gosh, if you don't mind, even just this is coming straight from a question I had in mind as you were talking. Kind of coming straight from what we're going through right now. Our company's just my brother and I right now. So, do you mind to talk about, because we've been operating for a year and have experienced quite a bit of highs and lows, particularly some lows lately, just in growing this business. So, have you experienced that with Jeni Ice Cream, and just like emotionally how you deal with growing a business and managing the kind of the tough days and staying kind of even keel on the wins as well, if that makes sense?
Sure, totally. It feels so different inside Jeni's than it did inside GE or any, where you're sort of within a bigger organization. The wins and losses feel more distant, and yet, at Jeni's, when we would get a no from a potential retailer, a grocery store buyer who said like nobody's going to pay that much for ice cream. And we were saying like no they will. It's don't think of it as ice cream like you currently sell. Like this is totally different. This is much higher quality. The ingredients are different. Like it tastes different. You got to taste it, and then you'll be willing to pay for it. And we heard no a fair amount, and those were scary days. And trying to figure out like, are we crazy? Are we gonna make it through? And it's all very personal when you're in a small business. I do believe in not getting too high on the highs and not too low on the lows. And if you know you're right, if you're convinced like, no, this is the world's greatest ice cream, people are gonna get it eventually, we got to just keep working at it. You can get through those. We were able to get through those tough days early on. And then when you begin to build a little momentum, you can get around the potholes or whatever. I think Jeni is fond of a saying. I think she actually has it in her office that those aren't bumps in the road. That's just the road. Mm-hmm. And I think I probably did a lousy job of paraphrasing it, but that's what I remember. And there's a lot to be said for that. Like there are literally no businesses that have a straight line of success. And the best entrepreneurs are often those that are pivoting and pivoting and pivoting, and then when they find what works, they put the pedal down and the gas down. And that's true for anybody. And so if you and others are sort of finding your way, like if you've got a strong conviction about what it is you're doing and what makes you different, you got to stick with it. And you might make less money year one or year three or whatnot, but like if you've got the long view and you're doing something special, you can get by those rough patches.
John, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this. So and I think you and I kind of relate to this. I've had a bunch of different stops in my career. And so when you were at the previous company's GE big law firm, and something just wasn't feeling right, either because of family or maybe you're working too much. Do you feel that now working for Jeni's Ice Cream that your values and the company's values are very much in sync with each other?
Yeah. I mean, they better be, right? Like,
yeah.
If I'm screwing it up by not living my own values when my title's CEO, then nobody else has got a chance of doing that. And there's one important way in which I have violated that I'll talk about. But I think we talk a lot around here about leading with our values. And so when things get tough, when we're trying to figure out what's the right answer to this situation, falling back on who are we and what do we want to be, it makes often those difficult decisions much easier. And whether that was pandemic or other things that we don't want to be the company that immediately cuts everybody, but the business necessities may require us to scale back. How do we do that in a way that we can feel like we've done as much as possible for the team, et cetera? The way that I have not lived my values and I am open to somebody calling BS on me is we put in a program called the sabbatical program, where after you have worked at Jeni's for 3 years, you get a paid month off. And we did that for a number of reasons. One, I wanted we weren't able to pay at the same level as big companies in my early days, and I wanted it to help recruit people. But also I wanted to give a chance for people to have to do their boss's job, but also the boss to still be able to do the details of somebody on their team who is going to be gone for a month. And I think it's been a wonderful thing for our company. I think it's a truly wonderful thing for people to get to go to Europe or get to travel in the mountains or whatnot, and not have to worry that it's costing them significantly to do so. And we love sharing the stories of what people did on their month off.
Yeah.
And we now have a number of employees who have had their third sabbatical. They have some clever name for it. Where I haven't lived my values is I have not taken the sabbatical. And I think that's a real miss on me, in that, I should be leading by example and actually doing it. I'm happy to say the leadership team has not taken that as an indication that they shouldn't, and they've all taken their sabbaticals. And I keep telling myself I'm going to find a way to do that. But frankly, it just, the angst it builds in me to actually try to escape for a month. And I've got kids that, I can't actually disappear for a month anyway. So I might as well keep coming to work.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, thanks for being so transparent with that. That's awesome. Forgive me if you're probably exhausted talking through, this last year as it relates to COVID stuff, but we did find ourselves, like I mentioned, we started doing strictly IT and particularly in healthcare, but in the last couple months, we've pivoted to getting into a little bit more of like manufacturing and warehousing, just because the market is speaking to that right now as far as open positions. For Jeni's Ice Cream, have y'all seen any shift through COVID? Like, what's kind of changed for y'all kind of in this last 18 months?
Sure. The biggest change was, we built these beautiful scoop shops around the country that, with our mission of making better ice creams and bringing people together. And all of a sudden we can't bring people together. And, we're sitting on lots of buckets of ice cream that we can't scoop for people going back, 18 months. And I think our team did an amazing job of pivoting, in real time while over Zoom, and figuring out how to do our darndest to continue to serve our customers. And, we rolled out delivery from the shops via Uber Eats and the like, via Jenny's.com. And that, is when we are able to receive an order on our website, it is much more cost effective than when somebody does it on somebody else's app. And that has enabled us to continue to serve customers. People have their Jenny's moment in their own living room or with those that they're living with during the pandemic. And that has been special for us because it has enabled us to keep people employed, keep the business moving forward. And while, sales out of the scoop shops were down, they weren't down nearly as much as they otherwise would have been. And then to continue the pivot to producing more for grocery stores and our e-com channel was really difficult and really important to our continued success. And we had days where the entire leadership team and lots of others were over making boxes so that we could ship more ice cream to e-com customers. And at different times during the pandemic, we were up 1,000% to the same day the year prior. And finding ways of continuing to serve customers despite all that's going on around us really speaks to the dedication and quality of Team Jeni's. And I'm very proud of the group and what they were able to do while we needed to keep pivoting and finding ways of keeping the business humming.
Sure. I think my small little family in Nashville did our part to help you out. We were frequenting Jeni's at the Nashville's farmers market quite a bit. We live pretty close by, so it's awesome being in such close proximity to a Jeni's.
I was going to say,
fantastic.
We've had at my house, I've got 4 little kids. And so between me and our 4 kids, we've had probably 250 Jeni's moments in the past,
Perfect.
2 months. So yeah, we're doing our part.
Well, we appreciate the support.
No doubt. Oh man. And I would say that it's going back a few answers ago, you said it was different than normal ice cream. Seriously, it really is a different experience than eating, I don't know, the ice cream that we ate growing up. So y'all are doing amazing work as far as that's concerned.
Well, that's very, very kind. I appreciate that. I can say thank you because I don't have a thing to do with the fact that it's so good that, Jeni and now a team around her that, she made every batch of ice cream and served nearly every customer for a decade. And, we live in a time now where lots of people claim to be artisans and every food has craft or artisan stamped on it. But like, she was truly the first and truly honed her craft over many, many years in a way that just doesn't happen. And so, every flavor is her creation. She's testing multiple iterations and it's amazing to be the CEO of a company and not have to worry about the quality of the product we're producing. Like, I'm so fortunate. Like, there's not another CEO in the world who doesn't have to worry about that stuff. But when you've got Jeni and team working at it, it's going to be damn good.
And I would assume that Jeni's ice cream has less artificial flavorings in it or something to make it last less time in the container that it comes in. Is that true? Like, do you have problems shipping it from the warehouse to the store and getting in customers' mouths in a faster time than, say, I don't want to name any names, but the brands that we grew up with 30 years ago?
You're absolutely right. We do not use stabilizers or preservatives, carrageenan, monos, etc. And that it is a very natural, sort of almost old timey taste, and there's a reason for that, and that does put pressure on our fulfillment, and we keep it colder. Our freezers are set meaningfully colder than others that are using stabilizers in their ice cream, and by others I mean almost everybody. And so that's the trade-off. Is ours is a little more expensive, a little more difficult to move around the country, but we've built a business around that with quality as our North Star. And I think consumers have figured out that it's worth paying up for. The difference is meaningful, and we've just decided like we're sticking with this plan, and it's worked so far.
Yeah. So you kind of alluded to it when you said quality is our North Star. Could you kind of explain what your North Star has been since the beginning of your career? What has always felt right to you? What has been your leading cause that kind of pushed you along your career path, every twist and turn that it's taken?
It's a great question. I'm stumbling here because I'm trying to figure out how personal to get, but like I will say my parents instilled a strong like work hard, but take the opportunity seriously. Don't take yourself too seriously. And so I believe in having fun. I believe in trying to work in a way that anything you do or say could be on the front page of the New York Times, and you'd feel confident and comfortable with that being the case. And maybe, one of my kids' elementary schools, their saying that they sort of got across to the kids was work hard and be kind. And like I saw that on the wall and I was like, yeah, that's it. They got it. And I have co-opted that myself as like, if you gotta break it down to simplest terms, you know, in life, everybody is carrying around baggage that I didn't appreciate as a 18-year-old. You know, I had you know, we weren't rich, but we were privileged in the sense that I had parents who loved me and were upstanding humans and were sort of doing what they could for our generation to get ahead as their parents had for them. And you know, we sort of the effort to make sure you're doing your part to get ahead but not step on anybody else was certainly what my parents were trying to get me to buy into. And the point I was making is like, when I was 18, I didn't understand that not everybody had that in their world. And the older I get, the more I appreciate that everyone is carrying around baggage, whether it's a sick parent, a cheating spouse, a child who's not thriving. And in our daily activities, we have thousands of opportunities to be kind and make people feel loved, as the phrase we use at Jeni's, make people feel loved today. Or we have the opportunity to have our elbows out and go through life sort of knocking people out of the way. And I am convinced that you can build a business, you can be highly successful while being kind and going through life with a different attitude than might sort of be the movie version of what successful people look like.
This is more of I love that. This is more of a statement than a question, but just being even personal on our behalf today, you mentioned how at heart, really, Jeni's Ice Cream is about people, and the tool y'all use to connect people is ice cream. And it's been a good reminder hearing you say that, because that's what we want to do with our business too. And obviously we want to be profitable, we want to do well, but at heart, our goal is to connect people, and our tool happens to be recruiting. But hearing you talk about that's at heart what you all do at Jeni's, that's been a good reminder for us today as well, that at the end of the day, it's about people, and use the tools we have in our business to try to do that. But at the end of the day, we just want to connect people. So yeah, you've helped us today. Actually, you talking about your story has been really helpful for us, even personally.
Fantastic. I'm happy to hear it. And you're absolutely right. We're fond of saying around here, like, it's about the ice cream, but it's not about the ice cream at all. and there's lots of good we can do in the world. We just happen to be making great ice cream and serving it. But you know, one way that is really important to me is, like, with ice cream shops, we are often a first employer, and the opportunity for us to make a really positive impact on 16-year-olds by teaching them the importance of, if you're not early, you're late, of the importance of a smile, the opportunity to, that great service leads to tips. That's true when you're 35 and not working for tips, as it is when you're 16 and you are working for tips. But like, that opportunity to teach people the benefits of hard work and getting ahead and doing a great job in job one, so that we can be your advocate and help you get job two outside of Jeni's. That is a really fun opportunity for our company. And, I try to get across to our team members, like, a great day is when we are writing a letter of recommendation, or we are picking up the phone and helping them be what they want to be by calling their next potential employer and saying, this young person worked their tail off for us. They showed up on time. They brought a positive attitude, and you ought to hire them. And, our opportunity to be a great first employer is something that we really value and love doing.
Yeah, Mason and we talk about this all the time. It's funny as business owners, and I would assume as the CEO of a company, you think what your project is so great and it's so awesome, and it is. Jenny's ice cream is fabulous, but that's not everybody's career path for their entire life to do 30 years alongside you. And so it's good to hear that you want people to move on, maybe move up in the company, or with some move out of the company, and you want to support that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it was important to me that in the first year, like we built the basics. We created a 401k, we got health insurance and those sorts of things so that it could be a career for people. And there are, a handful of people who have now been with Jeni's I've been here 12 years and that have been with us for almost all of those 12 years. And that's awesome. And I couldn't be more happy to get to work alongside those folks. But for the vast majority of people, we got 1,200 employees at the moment, probably. The vast majority of them are going to be doing something very different in 3 years. And it would be silly to pretend that's not the case. But we want great alumni, and we want them to have a tremendous experience while they're here. And I think, the opportunity to make the world a little bit better place by being a great training ground for people is an opportunity that we want to make sure we take advantage of.
John, have you thought about, I just thought of this. Have you thought about doing like an alumni day every year to bring people back that like did work for Jeni's at one point in time but are moving on to other things? Have you thought about that at all?
We did that at least once, maybe
That's
twice.
awesome. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm biased, but I mean, I think we've got just a tremendous group of people that have come through our doors, and it's really fun to get together with them, and so it's more difficult the bigger we get, but
Right.
but yeah, we are proud of our alums, and
Mm.
and we will enjoy watching them go do big things
Yeah.
in their lives.
Um, if you could, let's go back at the beginning of your career. So I think it's very much this is the way I felt 10 years ago, 15 years ago, was that the CEO of Jenny's Ice Cream, he's this amazing guy that has done these amazing things, and he's been to amazing places, and all of that is true. But I I thought that becoming the CEO of Jenny's was something that I couldn't do. I could always work for somebody, but I can't become that executive of whatever company. So, what would you say is your word of advice to somebody that's like starting out on their career and they want to become like a hiring manager or a director or a VP of sales or whatever their life path is saying? What would you say your advice is to them as they're starting out in their career?
I used to hear people talk about mentors and the importance of getting a mentor, and I didn't quite appreciate it. And I will tell you, at one point in my career, I had heard somebody's name recommended to me a couple of times, and I finally found a YouTube video of him speaking. And as I watched it, I thought, that's who I want to be when I'm 65. Like that guy, that he's got it. And I put together a recruiting plan to try to get him to agree to be my mentor. And I had Jeni write a letter to him, and we shipped him ice cream, and I did another thing or two and said, like, I need time with you. I've gotta learn from you. It was evident to me he had figured out some things, and that person had been CEO of a number of very large, very successful businesses. But he was also a great human being, and he used to teach on leadership that had morphed into him teaching about happiness. and he was convinced that you're born with some percentage of sort of who you are, but that you can teach yourself happiness and kindness and things that will make for a better life. And he's written about it now, and his name's Doug Smith. And for me, the point here is like, if you want to be X, you got to go find people who have done things very similar to X, and find ways to learn from them. And I've sort of looked at Doug as a coach at times, and in my role at Jeni's, I often think of myself as a coach. Right, I have the LeBron James of ice cream inside the company. My job is to make sure the right pieces, the right other players are around our LeBron James. And then sometimes my job is to coach them up just a little bit and mostly get the heck out of their way. And I think that, finding somebody who can be your coach, if you're a great player, sometimes the coach can see some other things that you're not doing or things you need to work on or whatnot. And so finding a mentor or a coach that has been where you want to go is probably one of the things that can help somebody early in their career.
Yeah, I relate to that. So I was a teacher very start of my career, and through just happenstance, I ran into the CIO of Valero. His name is Halzesh, lives in Texas. And every bit of success I've had in my career is due directly from meeting him. He is
That's amazing.
And so like I can relate to like getting a mentor, and I don't know that at the time that it was really related to what I want to do, but he gave me so much instruction, still gives me so much instruction will be valuable till the day I die.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, has he been on your podcast? Can I find it?
He has not, but he's being asked to. So I don't know that he'll agree to it. But yeah.
Well, let's ship him some ice cream so we can get his attention.
Yep, that's true.
Hey, John, we really do appreciate you. You're a wonderful soul. I can tell just talking to you on the phone. We appreciate your willingness to be on, and this has been really, really cool. And I know we'll get it out to as many people as we can, because I know it's going to be impactful.
Well, you guys are building a business during a crazy time, and I have no doubt you're feeling the same pressures that most of the world are feeling. Keep smiling, keep working together. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Hey, John, where would you like people to go after they hear this interview? Where do you want them to connect with you or with Jeni's or any of that?
Well, Jenny's.com is a great place to learn about our company and find a scoop shop or a place to buy the pints. And I'm available on LinkedIn. So if ever there's a reason to reach out, LinkedIn's probably the best bet.
Cool.
Thanks so much, John. I appreciate it.
Thanks, John. Appreciate you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a great day.
You too. Take care.
Yeah.